How's it going, folks? Nick here with the Tieta Permaculture vlog. I got Otto right here hanging out with me, and this video is just going to show you a little bit about my rainwater catchment system right here in my little Zone 1 side yard. This is pretty much right next to our main house area. So this is the area where I come pretty often and pretty frequently. So this is actually away from the actual backyard area, which is back that way, and I'll show you that a little bit later. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this system because I think it's a really great little system that is pretty easy to install with basic kind of items you can find around you and a little bit of online ordering. So this right here is the Blue Barrel system. I'll leave a link to their website below. I think they're based in the US, but they can probably ship internationally. And if not, you can probably find something similar around you. So what this is basically these old food grade barrels. These are 50-gallon barrels. And they actually have these attachments on the bottom. This is basically what liquids are shipped in across the world. So these are actually often a industrial waste product, just from the shipping and handling processes for various food and beverages, vinegars, oils, sugar, molasses, and all that kind of stuff. They'd be shipped in something like this. So these are often waste, and you can often get them for free. Or if not for free, for really cheap if you can find the right source. So this is a really great system to find near you. I found these barrels around me for $40 each. I probably could have found them cheaper if I actually went and got them, and I may have been able to get them free if I knew the right people. So pretty easy to get set up and pretty small overhead to get you started for the actual kind of barrels, which is nice. The plumbing itself and all that ended up costing me probably about $400 or $500, but I had to do a lot of custom piping for this system just because the roof here was not set up for guttering or anything like that. It just had basic pipes coming off, but nothing was really connected or functioning well. So I had to do a lot of work to make this happen. But you could easily do this with a much simpler and much more cheap system. I tend to over-engineer anyway because that's just how I am. So I'm going to walk you through each kind of step of the system here so you get an understanding of how this works. It really is pretty easy, and I want to make sure that you guys understand that because you can get basic rainwater collection really quickly, really easily, and you can do most of the work yourself. So let's go ahead and show you all these components. First off, I have two 50-gallon barrels. So this is 100 gallons of rainwater storage. This rainwater comes down from this pipe. This pipe is basically fed from my entire roof here. So you can see this pipe actually takes all the water from the roof and directs it all down to this one downspout here. And then it comes over and down. And the first step is a leaf guard. So this is not a first flush diverter. You can actually see it's pretty dirty right now. But what's nice about this little leaf guard is you can take off this top part right here and actually do a nice deep clean. So anytime it gets dirty like this, it's easy to clean, really simple. This is really sturdy, but essentially it's just like a window screen. So you could probably even make something similar to this if you can actually purchase this specific thing. I think this is called the leaf eater or leaf guard. I'll leave a link to that in the show notes just so you guys can check that specific component out. This whole component right here is made in Australia, so a lot of this is actually based in metric, but it has a lot of easy conversions and actually comes with this little piece right here, which allows you to go to either a 2x3 downspout or a 3x4 downspout if you went on the outside. So if you actually have this kind of downspout already, it's really easy to quickly adapt into. You don't need to use this kind of round pipe at the top. You could use pretty much any kind of pipe that you want, or if you have a gutter existing, you can use a gutter, that's fine too. So it's really nice because you can pretty much adapt it to whatever system you have. I didn't actually have this, so actually I had to install this for now. And I've actually learned a few things since installing it, which I'll get to a little bit later, but essentially this size, this 2x3 gutter right here, it's actually not quite big enough for the amount of flow that I get. So I actually should have upgraded this to at least a 3x4 and or used just a 3-inch round pipe. That would have been probably a little bit better for me in my specific circumstance. All right, so water comes down, goes through this leaf guard right here, and then it can essentially continue down its flow path, which is down, 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 and then this connects over to a pipe that ends up coming out right down here and exiting down further down the property. So that's basically how the water flows. So this component right here is actually a little adapter. It is part of the Blue Barrel system that they sell, and what it does is inside there's a little bit of basically a cone that directs water through this little opening right here. And then they recommend to add a little bit of a window screen or some sort of screening in here, and they actually provide this to basically help keep mosquitoes out of your rainwater system right here. So that's a really nice little thing. It's also just a little bit of an extra filter, which is nice. So that's what that is. And this piece right here, it allows for water to come out this way, but it also allows water to continue down the pipe. So if you're not actually using this, you can actually plug this up, and then water will continue to flow down your downspout. So nice and easy, super simple. And then what happens here is this outputs into this tube right here, which goes right into my rain barrel bottles. And you actually see if I lower that, water's coming out because it's filled up to that point in the barrel there. So this is just basically a friction fit right there. So you can actually see here, I do get a little bit of leakage when this barrel's full, and I could probably make that seal a little bit tighter, but I'm not actually too concerned with a little bit of leak. It just helps me kind of keep pressure out of this system so it's not too full in there. Okay, so we've gone through the leaf guard, down through, come through this pipe here, and here we are. So now it's entering this barrel, all right? This barrel is vented, which is a small little piece. Again, this is part of the kit that comes with the blue barrel supply. And you have to obviously drill this hole out. And that is basically just a basic Forstner bit, which is a type of bit that produces a really clean hole. But you can actually get that with the blue barrel products. You can see I have one on both barrels here. And that's really important to make sure that you have airflow and venting. So when the barrel's filling, it's not kind of creating a really pressurized container. You need to let that air vent out the whole time, right? Water enters through here and fills this barrel. And these barrels are actually underplumbed. So if you look down here, you can see I have these pipes connecting. These barrels are actually underplumbed. So you can see here, right here, I'm looking at the left-hand side barrel. You can see it comes down out of that bung. And that's just a little bit of an adapter that they sell with the blue barrel thing. So you can just go right into a regular pipe fitting. It goes down here. I have a valve, so I can cut off the supply to this left barrel. And then over here, it connects in to the right barrel. So as this right barrel is filling, it actually is also filling the left barrel unless I have this little valve shut off to kind of isolate this left-hand barrel. All right, now Otto's in with us. Let's look at that from a kind of wide angle view. So first of all, water fills this barrel. As this barrel is filling, that underplumbed fitting right there fills this barrel at the same time. So these two water levels are actually going to be equal, rising, 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 until it fills all the way up. Once that fills all the way up, the water will actually backflow from here into this pipe and down. So this actually requires no excess overflow, although I actually, in my specific circumstance, may end up adding an extra overflow because I live in the humid tropics. We get huge amounts of rain really, really fast, right? So I actually need to upgrade this size right here because my catchment area of my roof and the catchment volume I get from those big rain events is actually way too much for this small little pipe area to handle. That's just what I've learned over time. But that's what you do. You live and you learn, you experiment, and you see what you need to do to adapt the system to work better, right? But in most places where you don't have huge rain events, all the water will basically backflow from here, and it's a nice flexible tube, so you can really kind of adjust this pretty easily. And if you have a little bit more of a space to go to, you can actually get these to be longer to move over to wherever your first entry point is, right? But all the excess goes right back through here. Now, in my case, when we have heavy rains, it actually shoots a lot out of here, which is not ideal because that's going to end up, water's coming out here. That's where it's supposed to be, where the air is venting. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but yeah, for my specific system where I am in the tropics, I just need a little bit more of a drainage. So I actually might add an extra drain valve here, similar to what's over here, and just have that ready to go and take that off and put it down into the main drainage for this system. Just to kind of help take pressure off the system, right? But I also have another setup here. You can see here, this barrel has a bottom drain right here, and this could just be used to empty the whole system if you want. But what I've done is actually add a hose fitting, and that hose comes up and over here, and you can't really see it because it's all overgrown here. But right out on the other side here, I have the other end. And this height is set so that it's just below the pipe where it actually overflows. So in the event that I have heavy rains, what I end up doing is I just open this right here. And you can see this is now pouring, this is now flowing, and that's basically going to keep flowing until it equalizes with the level that that is set at, which is right around here. That's my estimation, it's right around there. So that'll just keep on flowing, emptying water, relieving the system from pressure, or basically giving more space for water to flow in and take a little bit of pressure off when it's really, really filling. And that's what I usually do anytime I have those major rain events, just to have a little bit of extra drainage there for the system. Of course, I also have just the regular supply here. This is where we use every day. We actually use this for washing dishes when the water's out, or I use this for actually watering my seed starting area. I just fill up my little thing, and that's where I water everything right here. So everything's really, really close, which is nice. And we have basically free rainwater to help us do all that, which is, you know, really not to be overlooked. It's really nice to have a free supply of water anytime you can get it. So the one other thing, I mentioned this earlier, but just to make sure it's a little bit clearer, this valve right here actually isolates both of these barrels. So if I wanted to make sure that I had 50 gallons kind of ready to go. Hey, Otto wants to come explore and help me. Thanks, bud. So right now that's off. So this barrel right here is no longer receiving new rainwater from this system. It's actually just going to stay right where it's at and not actually fill anymore. But that allows me to use this as kind of the splash zone. So basically as it's filling up, if we have way too much water, I can cut that off. I can have 50 gallons and I can basically open up that drain line and let this flow as much as it needs to. It'll still be pretty full by the time all the rain's done, probably about to that level, but it won't be all the way full. But that gives me a full 50 gallons. And then, you know, during big rain events, it doesn't really matter if I lose a little bit of extra because we have plenty of rain, right? So that's how I do that. And if you just want to store water for the future, that's there. And this spigot right here is set up to use water from this barrel. Really from both barrels, but it's set up so that if I do have that isolation off, I can use water from here. So if for whatever reason I need to turn this one off, I need to clean this one or anything like that, I can still have a barrel ready to go right there. What's really nice about this system is it's pretty much, you can keep adding on to it. So on this side, you can see I have a basic end pipe there, but I could easily cut that off and keep extending and adding more and more barrels if I wanted. That's a really cool feature because you can pretty much size this system based on how much storage you want, how much catchment area and catchment volume of water that you actually receive to your site. And so you can just keep on adding barrels one after the other if you'd like. It's just a really good way to use these barrels in a way that is, you know, not having them go to the landfill, which is always a benefit. All right, one final thing to note is that this is not a potable rainwater catchment system. So I am not collecting this for drinking water use. This is non-potable water. So this is not something you can just take out of here and drink. Honestly, if you did that, you'd probably be just fine because we have pretty clean rain around here and my roof isn't that dirty, but it's not like a really clean roof, like a metal roof that is kept clean on a regular basis. So this is for non-potable water. If I were going to create a system like this for potable water, I may add something like a first flush diverter. Right now, it's just basically going through a leaf guard to catch all that excess material to prevent that from getting in the tank. But if I was actually going to do potable water, I might add a first flush diverter, which essentially takes all that first amount of water that comes off the roof in case there's any bird manure or just organic material that's not so good. It collects it in a separate tube, and then that slowly drips out. And then once that kind of fills up, it'll come over and then go into your main rainwater collection system. Now, there's a lot of positive and negatives to that kind of system. Positive is you're getting all the excess potentially polluted water from your roof and kind of separating it out before it actually could go in your tank, so that's a good thing. However, those systems need really regular maintenance to make sure that you're not actually completely dirtying your water, because that little first flush area needs to be cleaned regularly, needs to make sure there's no organic matter buildup. And it actually, I've heard many times that systems that include one actually end up having dirtier water just because people don't end up doing that maintenance. So that's a whole different subject. That's not really what I'm covering here. What I'm doing is basically non-potable rainwater, so I'm not drinking this. However, if I wanted to drink this, all I'd really have to do is throw it through a filter and actually have a filter for the city water here, which also probably isn't necessary, but we just like to have nice clean water. But I could easily hook up a filter to this, run it through a filter, and then that water would be pretty much potable. So this is still clean water. It's not drinking water right off the roof, but it could easily become drinking water in a pinch if we needed to do that using any sort of filtration system. So This is a small little rainwater catchment system I got. Really happy to have it. It's actually saved us quite a few times already because we've had no water and need to wash dishes and do a couple other little things. So it's really nice to have here. And my long-term plan is to take this water and use this little output and actually pump it up to the roof using a small solar panel and a small DC pump, and actually pump it up to a roof tank. And then once that water's up in that roof tank, I have a plumbing line already coming down right here to provide water gravity fed from the roof. The future plan is to add a sink right here. I actually already have a drain already laid out for it. I just need to get the sink and hook everything up. So eventually I'll have rainwater collected, sent up to the roof tank. It's a big 400-gallon tank on the roof. That'll be gravity fed down to here. And then we'll have a sink that's attached to this little outlet here. So then we'll basically be able to clean our dishes in a sink instead of right on the floor here like we're doing now, which is fine. It's fine for the time being, but it will be nice to have a sink area that we can actually use to have nice clean water from the roof, washing our dishes right here, all provided from this tank, which is pumped up to the tank on the roof. All right, folks, that's it for this vlog. I hope you did enjoy that 100-gallon rainwater catchment system right here. Super small little footprint here, takes up for free supply water. I'll take it any day. I'm actually gonna do another vlog right after this. Gonna show you the rainwater tank in my backyard that has all my irrigation, provides water for my chickens and more out back. So I'm gonna show you that in detail next. So if you'd like to see that, I'll link that above. Otherwise, really, thanks for watching. If you do like this content, please subscribe and share this with people who are interested in these kind of similar topics. I'd love to have them see my videos and see if I can help them, all right? So yeah, that'll be it. And until next time, have a good one.